Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Viking Code School Final Project Demos. My name's Eric Trotman, and I run the program over here. And what we are doing today is we have a team. We have three teams of students from our immersive program. They kicked off in October. They've been working for 16 weeks to pick up an insane amount of technologies, not including all the time they spent building up to the program and getting ready for it. And they've been putting in countless hours over the last, again, it's 16 weeks plus a lot. Been through, what is it? What have you guys picked up? I mean, it's HTML, CSS, Sass, Bootstrap, basic Ruby object orientation, testing in Ruby, Sinatra, web scraping, APIs. Let's see, databases, SQL, working with Active Record, forms, authentication, authorization, security, testing on Rails, working with sending emails. What am I missing here? Task queues, JavaScript, jQuery, AngularJS, single-page apps, and a variety of technologies that I don't even know that are going to pop up in some of these projects that they've been doing over the last 2 weeks. Basically, the overall format of these projects is they've grouped up into teams and they've used an agile development workflow to over the last 2 weeks do 2 full sprints. And what that means is they came up with these ideas themselves. They created mock-ups, they pitched the ideas, they formed into teams, they put on their product manager hats and came up with user stories, converted those user stories into points values as an engineering team, built out an agile backlog, chopped it up into agile sprints, and then every day they've been having scrum meetings and code reviews, acting as real engineers on real engineering teams while they've gone through and produced these projects. So this is officially the end of Sprint 2. This is their official demos and presentations, and then we have 3 really great teams who are going to show you some pretty cool projects. So I won't steal the thunder by introducing the project specifically. I think what we can do is just kick off. In terms of the way the format's going to work, we will do generally it's broken up into 10 minutes to demo the product itself, and then 10 minutes to demo the underlying technical. That could be a little bit fluid, but after 20 minutes we'll break and have about 5 minutes of questions in between. And so if you want to ask questions, feel free to do so on the Q&A section of the GoToWebinar viewer. And otherwise, I think we're in good shape. We can kick off.
All right. So me and Jessica developed a site that we call Qwatch, and what it is a one-stop shop for you to find your favorite movies and see where you can watch or purchase them online. It's meant to be the place where you come if you're not sure where to stream a movie that you're looking for, so that you can get to it as quick as possible. So we have about 20,000 movies in our database where we can. Sorry, skipping a little bit here. Where we can go through and just see what links are available for certain movies. At any time you can click on a movie and see where you can watch it, share it with your friends, and copy to clipboard. If you have a certain movie in mind, you don't want to just browse, you can search for a movie. If you know exactly what you're looking for, we'll pull it up for you so you can see. This one in particular is available on Netflix, so we can just jump right to that link and start watching. We also have a Chrome extension, so that if you want to be able to share this movie with your friends as you're watching, we'll embed this link into the Netflix player so you can go directly to it and share it with your friends while you're watching it. So from there, we also have some activity tracking for if you want to keep track of what you've been doing and what you shared with your friends. So you can sign up with a normal login, just username, email, password. And then from there, we can start tracking activities. So let's say I decided to share The Secret Life of Pets. That'll show in your recent activity. You can also, after you signed up, still connect with Facebook. So you can choose to sign up originally with Facebook, but then you can also decide to connect your account afterwards, at which point you'll be able to see all of your friends' activity as well. I'm currently friends with our other developer on Facebook, and this is what she's been viewing lately. So I can click on her recently viewed. Let's check out Interstellar on Hulu. I decide to watch that. You go back, and now that is actually part of my recent activity as well, because I viewed that. Let's see. If you decide that you don't want to be part of our site anymore, you've connected your Facebook account, you can delete your account at any time, and we will deauthorize any access that we had with any external accounts. And just to show that you can sign up directly with Facebook, you don't want to type it up, you can just sign up with Facebook, authorize it, and you'll get put right into the app. All right. So you can scroll down and not have to worry about scrolling all the way back up to the top of the screen. We have this sticky search. So at any point you decide, oh, hey, I really like this movie, then you can go searching for it at any time without having to scroll all the way up to the top of the app. I think that covers it for our initial demonstration of the app.
I think just the last thing to show would be those share buttons.
Yeah. You can also share you can share your links on Twitter, on Facebook, and we'll create a little post for you, or even directly with your email. And we can, if you have a default email client, we can create an email for you. Or if you just want the link and you want to text it to someone, you can copy it to clipboard. All right. Now, one of the first things that I want to go over, because I think it's one of the more interesting features of our application, is how we do the animations here. They might look a little bit jumpy on your screen, but we'll share the Qwatch link later so you can view it personally. But one of the main things that we really wanted to have working was just really smooth animations for when you click an item. So it expands from where it was outward and then just collapses back into itself from where it was. And the way that we do that is we wanted it to be to really use your computer's processing power as much as possible. So we're doing it all with CSS animations for the most part. And so what that takes is
reiterate for everyone, if you can visit the site on your own computer at qwatch.me. It is a little bit hard to see on GoToMeeting. They're a little bit jumpy and just lag time. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. So what we do is we set some transition speeds, so nothing can happen for these search results in less than a half a second. We want that expansion to take at least a half a second, and so we can do that purely with CSS styling, and we don't have to do that with JavaScript. We don't have to set using functions or anything like that. And then we add a class to put it in the right position. So we first grab where the item is on the screen. And then, so we get this set position so that we can track it to back where it was. We grab where it is on the screen, set the duration to 0 while we put it in a fixed position, and then take off that duration override and animate it out using that expansion class. And doing that, we can keep performance very optimized while still showing these kinds of animations. And same thing goes for this search controller. You'll notice that jumps down to being able to searchable anytime you're actually viewing a movie. It's the same concept there. We're grabbing where it already is on the screen. We pull it out of the regular, its order in the DOM, so it doesn't matter where it was before, and we can animate it back to where it was. All right. And then I think from there, we'll move over to Jessica giving us a more high-level overview of our technical features.
Great. So I think, Samson, you have to set me as the presenter.
I sure do.
All right. Is that showing?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. Okay, so this is just list of some of the tools and the features that we utilize to make all of this come together. So just high-level overview on the back end, it's Ruby on Rails, which we are using largely just as an API, which essentially means that we have a lot of work going on the client side, and we are just requesting the data from our Rails application as JSON objects. And then we're using Postgres for our database. The front-end framework that's bringing the single-page app functionality together is AngularJS. For our data, we're getting the movie list as well as the URLs where that movie is available to watch from two separate APIs. One is the movie database API, the second is Guidebox. Like Samson showed you, we used a lot of JavaScript and CSS for animations. Our search through all those movies is implemented with Postgres trigram indexing. So once you press in 3 letters, that'll kick off the initial search, and we do sort it by the percentage of the title matched, essentially, so that how close of a match those results will be displayed above lower matches.
And just to go over what trigram indexing is, because I'm sure a lot of people have never heard of it. Trigram indexing, if you've ever heard of what indexing in a database is, it's a concept of storing data in a separate column just so that you can look it up quicker later. And trigram indexing is about breaking up strings into 3 letters at a time. So if you had the word Google, trigram indexing, the indexes would be GOO, OOG, OGL, and GLE. And so you break up the string into as many 3-letter sections as possible. So as you search for it, you can grab as many of those indexes that match your search.
Yes, thank you. That was a good overview. So for our authentication, we actually wanted people to use all of our app or all the core features without having to create accounts. So our authentication system is actually client-side, which means that you don't have to log in before getting to the single-page app. You can use all of our core features. And then when you do decide to log in, we do that on the client side, and then we communicate with the back end. And on the back end, the processing is done using device authentication. So with that client-side authentication, we are doing OmniAuth, which just means multiple ways to authenticate. So we have email and password and Facebook implemented at this point, but we do have it set up so that you could add more accounts if we wanted to add Twitter authentication or GitHub authentication. And that was a fun challenge. There's a few kind of gotchas that we had to watch out for. One was if a user had signed up with an email address and then wanted to add their Facebook account and had the same email address on their Facebook account, we wanted to make sure we didn't make a double account. And then also watching out for if somebody had a different email address associated with their Facebook than they had signed up with. We also wanted to make sure that those got attached to the same account. So just watching out for that, making sure it all worked as planned. For our sharing, you saw we're just kind of integrating with Twitter, Facebook, and email. And our activity feed was a simple join table relationship with Postgres to just keep track of everything that you either click on a watch link to go watch it or copy to your clipboard or any of the shared links. So anything you interact with goes to your activity feed. The friends we are getting from Facebook, so when a user signs up or adds their Facebook account, we'll go through and grab their friend list from Facebook that is also signed up on Qwatch, and we will add them as friends so that you can see their activity. The Chrome extension, as you saw, is only implemented on Netflix right now, but the plan was to expand it out to also Hulu and Amazon, and to eventually use that to maybe grab some data of our own so that we don't have to completely rely on the APIs, just to be a little bit more robust. You never want to be reliant on one thing. And then also to be able to cache the data for longer, because the APIs have caching limits, which for anybody unfamiliar with that, that just means storing the data, how long you're allowed to keep it before you have to get the data again. We're using CSRF protection, just using token passing from the front end to the back end. And then we've got the infinite scrolling, using pagination. So we actually really heavily rely on the IDs in our database. So those are re-indexed essentially so that it is a continuous set of IDs from 0 up to however many we have for the pagination. And then we actually use the movie database's IDs to refer to these items uniquely instead of the primary keys that Rails gives us. We also did a lot of API testing using RSpec with the controllers, making sure we were getting the right data responses. And then on the front end, we did JavaScript testing with Jasmine. So that is a complete overview, really, of the tools used. We can dive in a little bit to the code. Excuse me. I think our app.js, just some of you might not be as familiar with the code, but it gives a high-level overview of the views that we're using, and with a single page app just switching out. And then in our watchable service, we are using this service to track all of our movie items and then kind of control the animations. When we get an exact match, we will show and go to the show page. And one challenge for us was with the animations, making the animation take you to the correct URL, even though you're not actually redirecting, and then going back to the index URL cleanly and smoothly, and then having that work as well when you actually went to that URL from a link so it was refreshed. Our relationships here, we have users with viewings and activities and friends. Actually, a lot of the device setup. And then our movie syncer class is a very, this is the interface we have that's the in-between that talks and controls the APIs and then also talks to our database to save them. And we went ahead and we pulled these out so in case we ever want to change the APIs, it's just done in one place and we can call the same methods on different APIs. So that really does it for an overview without getting too deep into code. If there are any questions, we could take them now.
And as a reminder, feel free to ask questions in the app itself, or if you're here and able to speak, feel free to just shout them out.
Sorry, I was struggling with trying to get my microphone working. Did you guys do any testing to see if it's cross-browser compatible? Could I boot up Qwatch on, I don't know, Internet Explorer 8? Would it work?
I don't support Internet Explorer, but it will work on your smartphone. As far as testing across browsers, I think the only tests we did were Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Chrome Mobile.
Did the Facebook API give you any trouble? I've never written something that that interacts with one of the major social networks like that. Was there any trouble with like setting up your users on your site and then linking them in with Facebook and managing all the possible states that can result from that?
Yeah, actually, we had to have a semi-major rewrite because of that. So we originally had only set it up to be usable with either email or Facebook, and when you signed up with Facebook, it would overwrite your email. And so what we had to do was add an association for multiple authentications. So you have your main user object, and then you also have an authentications table where you can pull from different OAuth providers to log in through there. So you could, with the way we have it set up, you could feasibly sign up originally with just an email and password, connect a Facebook account, a GitHub account, Twitter account, all of those, and log in with any single one of them at any time, and you would be on the same account. As far as working with the Facebook SDK specifically, one of the strangest challenges that we ran across is with de-authentication. So when you delete your account, we wanted to make sure that our app like revokes all access to your Facebook profile, so you know we're not messing with your data once you've decided to delete anything. And with that, the Facebook SDK does not reset the token that it uses to authenticate. So once you've revoked that application, the first time you would try and sign up again, if you hadn't refreshed the page, would cause an error because it wouldn't go request a new token. And so we needed to find a way to manually go and grab a new token every time you deauthorized your account.
Hey guys, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk about how you went about making the extension and what kind of challenges went into that?
Yeah. So the extension, it might not be as complicated as you think it would be. The hardest part was working with Netflix site. So with the extension, you have limited permissions a lot of the time for what you can and can't do, or you're separated from the normal DOM. So what we had to do, because Netflix is built with React, so a lot of their elements are hidden until they're actually using them. They actually don't exist in the DOM at all. And so it took a lot of promises and checking that elements exist before trying to interact with that HTML5 player. And then making sure that structure didn't change as you went through Netflix, because a lot of the things that the Chrome extension uses to load certain content scripts is full page refreshes, but Netflix is on a single page app, just like our site, and so there are no actual URL listeners to check on the Chrome extension. So we had to create a single script that could match any one of a number of Netflix pages to do the right functions, to call the right functions.
I have a question about your testing for your API. Does your tests involve making live requests to the API, or are you using test doubles, anything like that?
We use different things. Most of them are some type of test double where we have the data that we expect to receive back stored in a different way for like the HTTP requests. When we were testing the APIs, we used a gem called VCR. So you only hit the API once, and then VCR basically records that response. So if you make the same request, you don't hit the API again. You just pull from the response you already got. But the tests where we wanted to make sure that we got the data back, we really hit the API for the Rails API, not for the third-party APIs, because those tests we wanted to make sure that the data we were getting back live had the information we expected.
All right, seems like we're officially at the end of the road on the questions here. So thank you guys for your presentation, and the app looks great.